Partaya Pratibodhita Bhagavato Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Kradita Purana Matti Mahabhagavatam Advaitaamritavarshini Bhagavati Ashtadashadhyayini Ambatvam Anusandadami Bhagavad Gita Bhagavadveshini. I just it gone out, so sorry, Swami. I got delayed. So. Okay, no problem.
21.
Discussing only, we didn't start. We will start. Yeah.
Verse 21.
Yeah.
Rajasa knowledge.
Yeah. So as I told you, that Sattvika assumes that Sattvika knowledge which is talking about, it assumes that you understand. So even though it is because the ultimate Sattvika is understanding the whole purpose of Gita. But you may not be, because since you are still in the 18th chapter, still the way to go, but it has explained, once your qualification, once your manitva, are in full flow, once your mind is in a Sattvika state, your understanding will be like you will be free of the bondage, ekam bhavam abhayam in all things, sarva bhuteshu. You will be able to see everything as one. So that sort of a understanding you will have, Purna Atma you will have. That's what it says. So, but explaining the Sattvika knowledge. So there may be a slight difference because when the way in which it says, it looks like it is already done. No, you still have got a Sattvika mind potentially ready to understand the reality as the teacher unfolds. That sort of a ready mind you have. That's what it means when it says Sattvika knowledge. Now let us see Rajasika knowledge.
Pritatvena tu ejnanam nana bhavan pritak vidan veti sarveshu bhuteshu tajnanam vidhi rajasam. Tu, on the other hand, yet jnanam, that knowledge by which sarveshu bhuteshu, with reference to all beings, pritak vidan, of different kinds, nana bhavan, manifold nature, pratatvena, distinctly, veti, one knows, tat jnanam, that knowledge, rajasam vidhi, may you know it to be rajasa. On the other hand, may you know that knowledge by which one knows distinctly the manifold nature of different kinds of beings as rajasa.
Yeah, see, basically this is how all of us are. We always look at people differently, things differently. That is our normal behavior. So, what it says is, when you are looking at things differently and manifold and all that, that is only a Rajasika knowledge. In the sense, Rajasika means that the mind is not, in the sense in its, it is the space inside and the the purity of the mind, Antakarana Shuddhi, are not 100%. There is still the bhavam that I am different from other things. That bhavam, the ego part of it is still there. Even though once you are Sattvika Buddhi, the ego will still be there, but it will be only an operating. So enlightened Ahankara, somebody used to say that. And instead, you will be very much alert to your reality of Sattva Shuddhi will be there. That is why Antakarana Shuddhi I didn't speak. Whereas Rajasika means Sattva Shuddhi is there, but not to that extent. Still you feel you are different from other things. So that is what the manifold nature of different kinds of beings you will perceive. You may be a dharmika, you may be a really intelligent person, good person. In spite of all that, you are different from others. That itself will make you feel incomplete. So that is called Rajasika Buddhi. That is what the very sense. It is very normal, but still, if the very fact there is another, the Shastra says that there is a second thing itself is a cause for fear. That is why Advaitam. The second thing means fear. That's what it says. Fear. Even though we are not afraid of a computer or this thing, because they are all jada and all that. But eventually, when you are looking at this as separate from me, you will look at the other person also as separate from me. Because this is separate from me. If I think, I will look at the other person also. That is where the problem is. Then you will feel small. Whatever it is, the other second person means there is always some apprehension. Anytime I may be affected and all that. So that dukkha lesa, that is called dukkha lesa. Even though you may not be maybe a dharmic person, maybe an active person, intelligent person, but still dukkha lesa will be always the doubt, little doubt in your life. That no, everything is not all right. That is called, that at the height of your understanding, it is called rajasika buddhi. That also you have to get over when it comes to sattvika. Once you understand that sattvika buddhi means everything is samam, what you have discussed before. Everything is samam. Whatever happens around me, I look at it as the, the manifestation of my being. It is all one in my reality. So there is no fear. You will do whatever is appropriate. Your living will become very, saral. You will not be affected by anything, good or bad. There won't be opposites and all. You will not. Everything is happening within my reality. That will be very clear. Whereas Rajasikam is one step less. You are going to be, even though you are dharmic, you are doing what the right things and all that, but still there will be that slight difference between you and other things. So the other is always vast compared to you. Whatever high or however high and mighty you are, the second thing is always bigger than what you are. So naturally some fear and all will be there. That is what is explained. Duality will be, that's what he says. Now read it. Yeah.
On the other hand, may you know that knowledge by which one knows distinctly the manifold nature of different kinds of beings as Rajasa. Duality will be the reality for those whose mind is predominantly Rajas, whereas the knowledge by which one sees the non-dual is Sattvika.
That is what we have seen.
As before, even though the subject of the sentence, Yat Jnanam Vetti, is Jnana, making the literal meaning, which knowledge knows, we understand the sentence to mean by which knowledge one knows. What does one know? Every Atma is seen as separate, Pritatvena, from every other. All the bodies being different and Atma being taken as the body, one sees only the many and distinct. Nana Bhavan, Pratak Vidan.
Nana Bhavan means many. Nana means many. And Pratak Vidan means I am separate from that many. So both are there. Yeah.
Nobody, one could agree, takes another physical body as himself.
One could argue. Meaning, one could argue. Meaning, it is the normal thing. Everyone knows. Yeah.
And someone who holds this conclusion supports it with the reasoning that when he wants to get up, only his body gets up, not other bodies. Therefore, since the eye sense is confined to a given physical body and does not extend to any other, it is clear that the physical body is Atma. Even if one appreciates an Atma other than the physical body, which survives the death of the physical body, still everyone knows that Atmas are many.
Everyone thinks.
Everyone thinks that Atmas are many. Every religious person accepts an Atma that survives the death of the body, and therefore he does consider Atma as something different from the physical body. At the same time, he does not recognize the non-dual nature of the Atma, and therefore for every physical body, there is an individualized Atma different from any other Atma. Every other Atma. In other words, he recognizes the Atmas as separate, Pratak. He knows as separately, Pratatvena. The different beings are objects, Nana Bhavan. Not only are there many, they are varied. Each one has his own likes and dislikes, joys and sorrows, Sukha and Dukkha. Everybody is different from everybody else because knowledge differs, desires differ, and tastes differ. Thus Lord Krishna says, the knowledge by which one recognizes separateness with reference to all beings or recognizes Atma in all beings as separate, may you know that knowledge to be Rajasa. Tad Jnanam Vidhi Rajasam. It is born of Rajoguna, so an Antakarana which are predominantly rajas, can have only this kind of rajasa knowledge. What is tamasam jnanam? That is pointed out in the next
Tamasam
verse.
jnanam.
Tamasam
So
jnanam.
this Rajasam Jnanam is generally for all of us. It will be generally like that only. We will always have that feeling that I am different. That is why we are able to do Vyavahara. But once you are able to grow out of that and understand the Sattvika Jnanam which has been discussed before, then only your understanding is complete. That is why it looks like as if your understanding is complete when they describe Sattvika Jnanam. So when your understanding is complete, then even though there is variety, you will not. Swamiji's famous statement: the variety is me, but I am not the variety. Variety gets its existence. I see the variety. Because of my seeing only variety exists. Otherwise there is no the variety world and all that. Variety world is I give satta and spurti to that variety world. So once I am very clear about it, satta and that the variety will not overwhelm me, will not make me feel afraid. I will look at it, okay, this is how life is. Whatever you need to do, you will keep doing. But in the heart of heart, your understanding will be very clear that in my being, all these varieties are there. So A is not B, but B is A. That part of it will be complete. That is Satvik. Here, the difference is there. I feel the difference and act accordingly. Even though I may be dharmic, I may be alert to that, but still other things are different. I will do appropriately. Whatever need to be done, I will do. But still, that separation will be there. That sense of dissatisfaction. That is what I am trying to say. That is what I tried to say in the talk. That uninhibited consciousness is Suddha Sattva. Anything less is going to be inhibited. That is our normal life. But Tamasa is still worse. He is going to explain now. So what we have to grow is from Tamasa to Rajasa, from Rajasa to, we cannot stop at Rajasa. He says, okay, I understand the values and all that, I am good to people, I am dharmic. So don't stop there. That is not going to help. You have to grow into, when you are having a Rajasa, intelligent living, proper living, dharmic living, very pious living, better grow into the Sattvika Buddhi, the here and now, don't postpone it. That is why it is understanding. Otherwise, what will happen? Even though you are a dharmika, you will go away with that understanding my soul has to come back and get emancipation later. You will postpone this understanding to another birth. And you never know how are you going to come back. We never know. So don't postpone it. Don't stop at Rajasika stage, move into Sattvika. And Tamasika, of course, you have to move into Rajasika to Sattvika. But of course, at all times, you have to be very clear that you should not try to label people. You are Tamasika, I am Rajasika, somebody else is up. Don't do that. Everyone has every bit. You have to grow all the time, keep growing. That's what we have to do. Yeah.
Verse 22, Tamasa knowledge. Yattu Krishnavade kasmin karye saktamahaitukam atatvartavadalpam cha tattamasamudahritam. Yattu, whereas that knowledge by which ekasmin karye, in one object, Krishnavat, as though it is everything, saktam, committed, ahaitukam, that which is illogical, atatvartatvat. That which is
means correct.
Atatvartat. I'm not getting it. I'm doing the Sanskrit thing.
What the meaning? What is nothing but with? Atatvarta. One who is equipped with Atatvartam. Atatvartam means opposite to Tattva. Yeah.
Atatvartavat. That which is without truth. Alpam cha, and very limited. That tamasam udakritam is said to be tamasa. Whereas that knowledge by which one is committed to one object, as though it is everything and which is illogical, without truth and very limited, that knowledge is called tamasa.
This is very much one sentence la sollalam. Naam pidicha muyalukku munenga. This is what it is. This tamasa buddhi is edhu adha na sollradha correct. That sort of thinking.
To distinguish jnana from the other two, that is Sattvika and Rajasa, he uses the particle tu, whereas here one is committed, Shakta, to one object, karya, such as the body or anything else, as though it is everything, Krishnavat. Everything seems to end in a given object and nothing beyond that is seen, because feeling is the basis of all conclusion. For example, that given object could be the physical body. A person who has this kind of knowledge thinks that there is nothing other than that. He thinks that the physical body has some qualities and one of them is consciousness. Since everything is in one physical body, when the body is gone, everything is gone. The conclusion here is, when the body is gone, I am gone. When the body is fat, I am fat. When the body is tall, I am tall. The body is the Atma, and the Atma is the body. There is nothing more than that. This is the condition of Charvaka. Contention of a Charvaka, a materialist. And therefore, such a person sees different beings as having distinct features, distinct bodies, distinct karmas, distinct experiences of Sukha and Dukkha, etc., even if we may recognize an Atma surviving the physical body. Shankara mentions some other possibilities here. If the person is a devotee and worships a particular form, perhaps in stone or wood, as though it is the only form of the Lord, that is also tamasam jnanam.
Yeah, see, if it is Ishtadevam and you say only Krishna is God, Rama is not God. And some people will say only Rama is God, Krishna is God. That is tamasam jnanam, he says. Even though you are very worshipful devotee, but that is a very truncated jnanam. So it's called tamasa jnanam. Just imagine a person who is a very true worship, very fierce worshipper of Krishna can be called tamasa, tamasa buddhi. See, so to that extent we have to be alert to that. We cannot just because I am worshipping my Ishtadevata so fanatically, I don't become a great devotee. Because it's only a tamasa buddhi. In the sense, it's only very low level of devotion it is. It's not a real devotion as such. This thing we don't understand. We in society we see a lot of these things. People have a lot of this, so much of this passion for their own God. My God is the only God. Everyone's other's God is not important, etc. etc. A lot of even religious people have such fanatical attitudes. So fanatical attitude is tamasa jnana. That's what he says.
Swami, then what about those Alvas? We have read in Puranas, Alvas, Nayanmas, even Ramanuja, that Balaji, Venkateshwara, he said he is only Perumal.
Yeah, that is what. Indirectly, I have not told you that. Indirectly, that is what it means. Once you have a fanatical attitude, that Bhagavan is only in Vaikuntham, Shankar Sakra Gadapane alone is God. It's all not a very good sign. It's all theology. It's not Vedanta. It's theology. Theo religion. It's called Theo religion, means God. It's as good as anyone else, any other fanatic. Allah only is God, no one else is God. See, there is only God is one thing. There is only one God, and that God is my God. Swamiji always jokingly used to say, the priest will say, there is only one God, that is Jesus or whatever, and don't worship other gods. Your first sentence you say there is only one God. Second sentence you don't worship other God. That means what? You are not confident. There is a lot of fanatical. That is called what happens to fanaticism. The logic goes. Swamiji used to say your mind is anesthetized. In particular area of worship, your mind is anesthetized. You are not willing to listen. Even though you are an intellectual in other area, when it comes to God, your mind is anesthetized, totally conditioned, indoctrinated. That's precisely the problem. That is what it is. Indoctrination is called tamasam jnana. Openness, understanding. That is why I always say Ishvara has to be understood. Ishvara is not just to given a name and form and worship. No. Ishvara understanding is more important than Ishvara worship. That is very important. That's what it means. Tamasam jnanam is that only. Yeah.
Shankara mentions some other possibilities here. If the person that we read. Now for the sake of worship, we have an altar, something we consecrate, installing the manifest presence of the Lord there. Footnote, in fact, what we were worshipping is not the idol. We are worshipping Ishvara. If anybody condemns you as an idol worshipper, he does not understand what we are worshipping. And if anyone worships a given form, completely committed to that one object alone, Krishnavat ekasmin karye, thinking that that particular form alone is God, he also has tamasam jnanam. The
So that is
capacity,
where the problem is. When we are worshipping an idol, when other people tell you are idol worshippers, we react. We react. No, we are not idol worshippers. We are worshipping the Bhagavan. We are able to superimpose my Bhagavan into that idol and worship. That is fine. But why you react? Because actually you are worshipping the idol. When somebody says you are idol worshipper, you react.
shouldn't
You
I?
don't
Yeah,
have to
I
react.
understand.
You can tell him that you don't understand how I worship. If you are really a good, proper understanding of the
Yes,
worship,
yes.
is there. But you react. Why? Because you really keep worshipping the idol. You understand?
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
your weakness. He knows your weakness. That is why he is saying that. So we should be able to. Swamiji always used to say, கடவுளை நம்பினவன் காட்டுமிராண்டின்னு சொன்னாக்க அவனோட கான்செப்ட்ல கடவுள்னா என்னன்னா அது அவன் காட்டுமிராண்டிங்கிறான். Why are you reacting?
I see.
You don't have to react. Let him, அவனோட அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் அவ்வளவுதான். You know that if you react, that means what he says is true. You are
No, like, it is like you said in the talk, when somebody say fool, you
exactly.
turn and look.
Everyone has this. Internally, somewhere there is some doubt. Maybe I am the fool. அங்கதான் ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு. That is why these are all very important things. The tamasam jnanam, if anyone fanatical worshipper looks at it, he will feel very bad. But the fact is like that. You have to analyze it. You have to understand. Vishwara is only a prakriya. A prakriya by which you can understand life better. Not that you should not get fixated with. So after all, it's a thing which you put it as a form. It is easy for you to invoke the spirit of worship onto that particular form. That is how it is. That's all. But form is not the thing. Form is not the thing. Your understanding is the thing. So that is what we have to get into. That's why he says this tamasam jnanam. Nobody else will. Now only Vedanta, only Shankara will be able to say this is tamasam jnanam. Worshipping a particular fanatically God is tamasam jnanam.
Yes.
That is capacity to discriminate. Viveka is lacking. That's what he says. Yeah.
A question may be raised here. Is it not true after all that the experiences of sukha and dukkha are different for everyone? Your pain and pleasure belong to you. My pain and pleasure belong to me, and therefore they are definitely different. What is wrong with that? It is valid knowledge of things as they are. There is no erroneous perception here. How can you say that it is rajasam jnanam and is therefore distorted? That is what the truth is. If, on the other hand, Atma is one and the same, then everybody should have the same experience. If I have sukha, everybody should have sukha. If I get liberated, everybody should get liberated. If I have dukkha, everybody should have dukkha. But that is not how things are. One is happy, sukhi, another is sad, dukhi. One is enlightened, jnani, the other is ignorant, ajnani. Therefore, differences do exist. How can you say this is distorted knowledge?
So this is Purvapaksha. This is a question raised.
Purvapaksha.
This is the question raised. Now you will answer.
It is true that sukha, dukkha and so on are all different attributes of the antakarana. There are attributes and they are different. But in spite of all the differences, there is only one thing that is there, the nirvikalpa atma, the self without attributes. See the difference. In spite of all these differences, there is only one vastu that is there, which is atma. And knowing that is satvika jnana, while seeing the difference is rajasa jnana. Just because one antakarana has this perception of difference, it does not mean that vastu is not one. Just because different vessels have different volumes, it does not mean that space is divided into many parts. It remains one undivided whole. So too, clay is the same even though the forms it expresses are different. And similarly here, the vastu is the same and the nama rupa, the names and forms differ. What differs is called anatma dharma. It is not the essential nature of atma. We are not shy of the perception of duality because in spite of this perception, there is non-duality.
Yeah, that is what it is. In the sense, here what it means is Atma is the being. It's the being. So it is not a thing with the name and form and all that. And we are not shy of the perception of duality because in spite of this perception, there is non-duality, meaning there is only one being. everything else, name and form, objects and all are many. So the being, the Vastavam, the reality, Atma is only the being. Everything else is name and form and transactable. That is why it is transactable. It is, I can talk to you, you can talk to me, because you are transactable, because there are differences. But in terms of reality, the difference is not there. Being alone is there. If I am the being and you are the being, if this difference of body, mind, sense is not there, how am I going to talk to you? I cannot talk to you. We all are one Atma. But the differences are only there, but they are not real. Differences are only for transactional purpose. Whereas Atma is the reality is one being. It is not transaction worthy. Only if Atma alone is there, you cannot transact. Because it's not a timeless, spaceless, objectless being. How can it transact? It's not available for transaction purpose. The differences are there, but that is not the reality. In the sense, they are there, but they are unreal. Meaning, with reference to the reality of the being, they are unreal. Because even though they are available for Vyavahara, this clarity and understanding is important. That is called Sattvika Buddhi. That needs that extra clarity and understanding. Mind should be, as I told you before also, it should be have that Suddha Sattvam, meaning Ekagriya Buddhya, like Darba grass, sharp mind should be, product should be available. For that, all the pratibandhas, all your vagaries of life, Sukham, Dukkam, Ishtam, Anishtam, ரொம்ப மனசை போட்டு ஆடிட்டே இருந்தா இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு sharp understanding வராது. That is why we have to avoid. All those qualifications are only meant to make you be available for this clarity and understanding that Atma is one, everything else is only transaction worthy. Differences are not division. That is why I have mentioned in that particular Aparokshanubhuti, first verse I have mentioned, no? Vedasya avasaraha kutaha, in the talk. I don't know, I think I mentioned that in the talk. One Aparokshanubhuti verse I mentioned. There it talks about Vedasya avasaraha kutaha. Veda is there, difference is there, but division is not there.
Okay. You told us in the last
We are all different. We are all different, but there is no division as far as the book is concerned. That is what it is. What he means by that. The differences are there, only names and forms for transaction purpose, but there is non-duality. In spite of the perception, there is non-duality. There is a being, this reality is only one. That's what he said. That is Satvika Jnana.
Swami, can you repeat that this thing? Aparokshanubhuti.
Aparokshanubhuti, verse number 46. This
Breathe out. Breathe out. Yeah?
He's saying Aparokshanubhuti.
1 minute. I have said it. व्याप्य व्यापकता मिथ्या व्याप्य व्यापकता मिथ्या सर्वं आत्मेति शासनात् इति ज्ञाते परे तत्वे वेदस्य अवसरः कुतः वेदस्य meaning difference avasarah meaning division veda is there avasarah kutaha where is division that's what it says beautiful verse which I will give you this write up also which as a support of my talk I have given this this thing I will send you this also after the class okay what's verse number 46 on Aparokshanubhuti it says very elaborately it says which I have told you before also what we see is only pratiti just you see only light but you think you are saying things அதுலேருந்து ஆரம்பிக்கிறது so I will send you this write up beautiful write up
and
support of that
and also so that Mandukya Upanishad the Pariksha Lokan
அது Mundaka
Upanishad that also can please send Swamiji because I that Pariksha Lokan that sloka, whatever verse.
I will send you that also.
Pariksha.
Pariksha lokan karmachitan nirvedmayat brahmanaha nasti akritaha krudena tat vijnanartham samitpani samet gurumayavavi gachet srotriyam brahmanishtam. Like that it comes. I will send you the talk separately. But this talk, this Aproksha Anubhuti and Mandakya, I will send you the write-up as a support to my talk. And now that you have seen the talk, you look at this, it will be more clear. I will send you that. Yeah.
So, but the so-called differences are not really differences at all. They are mithya, and therefore the vastu is the only one, and that is myself. This is jnana, this is the truth. When this is the truth, if only difference is seen, we have to say that it is rajasam jnana. But when one sees only one thing as though it is the whole, that is tamasam jnanam. This person does not know what he is doing. Some devotees of Lord Krishna are an example of this. The mantra they chant originally appears in Kalisantaratno Upanishad as Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But they will reverse the order and chant the name of Krishna first because of their commitment to the belief that Krishna alone is the Supreme Lord. And the fanatic has no understanding of what Ishvara is, and you cannot make him understand either. It is like talking to a wall. Nothing happens. This is tamasam jnanam, meaning it is born of tamo guna. Either he thinks that the physical body alone is Atma, or that one given form alone is the Lord. Both are included here.
See, this is something called Pratama Malla Nyaya, meaning the best of the worst. The best of the worst you take and knock him off. Then all others get knocked off. See, in Pratama Malla meaning in world boxing, the previous champion is given a deal to fight somebody. If that previous champion, the current champion is boxed out, then the other person who wins is a champion. That is how boxing works, world boxing. That is called Pratama Malla Nyaya. In the sense, you get the best of the other people, best of the worst. Best of the Rajasika, Tamasika people is what? The person who is very much devoted to Krishna. Krishna conscious, will do anything for Krishna. And take that person and tell him that you are wrong. Because that means you are only, for you the idol is the thing. That means you don't understand what is the Ishvara's, what Ishvara means what? What Ishvara means is Aishwaryam, meaning all infallible is Ishvara. Everything around is Ishvara. Anything and everything, all activities, all forces, all effects are Ishvara. When that is the case, even though you are invoking that Ishvara into a particular idol for convenient purpose, you can't say only this is Lord. That means you are defeating the whole purpose. That means you don't understand what is worship, what is Ishvara. That is what he says. So that sort of fanatical way of looking at God is not correct. That is where the problem is. That's what he says. Yeah.
Illogical knowledge. Shankara mentions here a sect that holds that the body has to be purified in order for one to be released from all karma. They look upon the Atma as other than the body, but then consider it to have the size of the body. As the size of the body increases, Atma goes on enlarging. In this view again, Atma is as good as the body. Even though they say it is distinct from the body, if it has the size of the body, if it has limbs and so on, then that means it is only as good as the body.
See, is also in Shastra, they will say something called Gaunam. Gaunam meaning, okay, when I say I am fat, no, I know my body only is fat. I'm just saying I am fat just for talking purpose. They will say that. Listen, if you ask anyone, no, when you say, if you say I am fat and you have a complex, why are you having a complex? Your body only is fat, you can do something about it. Why do you think that you are fat? No, I understand. My body only is fat. I just say I am fat just for talking purpose. But fact is, it is not that but just for talking purpose. Internally also he feels that I am fat. That is the problem. The problem is, If I know that the body is fat, I have to do nothing more. And when I say I am fat, I mean the body, then there is no problem. But the fact is, we all, when we say I am bald, I am tall, I am short, I am having this, we really internalize. We don't understand an Atma other than the body. So just for argument's sake, you may say, no, I understand. No, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Say immediately you don't understand. Then you should not keep the key. Whatever be your problem in life, you must be able to see objectively. Why you are saying I am having the problem? So that is the sense. Sometimes we are not very clear about ourselves because of our language or way in which we transact. We know very well this is not the fact of life, but that is not the top of my mind when I am transacting. If it is at the top of the mind when I am transacting, then there is no problem. You just have a situation you have to deal with. Then there is no problem. That you are having a fat body is a situation you have to address. If you say I am fat, then you have a complex. Then you are a dukhi. So the dukkam does not rest with the body. Body is body, jadam. Dukkam in you because you think that I am fat. So that is what that distinction should be there. That's what he says. You cannot say Atma is distinct from the body and subtler than the body. At the same time, say it is the size of the body. So that is where we have to be very careful about. When we know very well that Atma is distinct, you must behave like that. You must be able to one up that reality. And all your transactions, you must be able to do it that way. Then that is Sattvika knowledge. Otherwise, there is a mix-up. Rajasika and Tamasika. That's what he says. In the sense, see, all these things he is saying now, because we are in the 18th chapter. We assume that we are already moved that much. We understand. So when he says, here the same Sattvika, Rajasika, Tamasika, earlier, you would have described qualification to be achieved. Here he says, you have to make it now. Don't postpone it any further. We are in the 18th chapter. That's why he says like that. Yeah.
You cannot say Atma is distinct from the body and subtler than the body, and at the same time say it has the size of the body. What is that Atma that is other than the body and still has the size of the body? That means you are attributing limbs to the Atma. If it has no limbs, then it does not have the size of the body. It makes no sense, and therefore Krishna says it is ahaitukam, without reason, illogical. There is no thinking involved in such views.
Very, very profound. These things you have to be very alert and understand this thoroughly. Yeah.
Then again, such knowledge is atatva.
This is what he means. Tattvartavat means with tattvam. Atatvartam means without tattvam you are having. You are possessed by that knowledge which is wrong. That is what he means. Atatvartavat means you are possessed by a knowledge which is wrong. Unless you get out of that, you are not, there is no hope of you becoming Sattvika and all that. That's what.
Which has no element of truth, though it is held to be true. This kind of knowledge is not knowledge at all, but those who subscribe to it hold it very dearly as though it is knowledge. That is why it is said to be tamasam, udakritam. There is another word used to describe this knowledge, alpam. Shankara says that because it is without reason, ahituka, it is alpa, precious little. Or we can say it is alpa because the result of it is very limited. It does not lead one anywhere. If you say that body alone is Atma, it will only lead to sorrow because the body cannot be maintained. It goes on aging and finally dies. Anyone who holds this belief cannot avoid the fear of mortality. Therefore, the result he gets out of this knowledge is very little, alpa. Then again, the knowledge is limited because he does not see anything beyond the physical body. His knowledge covers only a limited sphere of perception. This is the threefold knowledge Bhagavan Krishna promised to talk about. Now he is going to discuss the threefold nature of karma.
Prashant, you can speak, you can read.
Yeah. Verse 23, Sattvika karma. Niyatam sangarhitam Ara Aragat Veshakritam
Veshataha kritam.
Veshataha Kritam Apala Apala Pretsuna Karma Yattat Satvikam Uchyate. Yat Niyatam Karma, that enjoyed action which Apala Pretsuna, by a person who has no binding desire for the result, Sangarahitam, without attachment, Raga Dveshataha, without being impelled purely by likes and dislikes, Kritam, which is done, that Satvikam Uchyate, that is
So
called.
this is exactly what has been told in the second chapter. As I told you, no, Karma Yoga Sutram. What is that? Karmanyeva adhikarahate ma karma pala hetu bhuhu mate sangostu akarmani. As Swamiji has fully explained completely, even though it is only in the second chapter. Here again, now it is the conclusion part of it. Here it's again being clearly told. Yeah.
That action which is enjoined and which is done without attachment, without being impelled by likes and dislikes, by a person without a binding desire for result is called Satvika. Niyatam means that which is enjoined by the Veda, and in terms of the Vedic karmas, Niyatam karma would be the Nitya Naimitika karmas. It can also mean any duty that is very evident, any job that has to be done in a given situation. That also becomes Niyatam karma. This is Satvika karma. Karma done by a person whose mind has a predominance of Sattva. And while describing it, the definition of Karma Yoga is given here. Any karma that is to be done which is performed without certain kind of attachment, Sangarahita, is Sattvika. It is free from such identification as I am the one who is doing this. It is done without ego, without attachment. Sangarahita. Then again a karma that is done without being impelled by raga dveshas, araga dveshataha kritam, is satvikam karma.
See, this no, when Swamiji was explaining in the second chapter and all that, then you will say Ishvara Arpitam Karma and Pala you accept it as Prasada Buddhi. Okay? Because at that point in time, you don't really appreciate. The second chapter, you are getting introduced to Karma Yoga. You really don't appreciate all that Aragat Dveshataha Kritam, which Bhagavan says now. There he doesn't say, we know very well. In life, Raga Dvesha is there. Okay, even if you have Raga Dvesha, do it what is appropriate as Ishvara Arpitam, and when the result comes, take it as Prasada and all that. But here there is no quotas given. Now that you have already completed 17 chapters, from here it will be very clear. You cannot have any desire prompted action. At this level, your desire prompted action should be eschewed. In the sense, even if you do some desire prompted action, you will be doing what will be your sankalpa? Lokakshemartham. Okay, the family, this Ayushamam is being done. It is not for the Ayusha Abhivritti for myself. Even though the Vadhyar may be saying that sankalpa and all that, in your heart of heart you will be telling this is for Lokakshemartham. Not for my Ayusha Abhivritti. No, I am not interested in that. Because I am already gone through 17 chapters, I have understood reality. I am trying to live that understanding. So, Aragat Dvesha Kritam. All my activities are truly submitted at the feet of Ishvara Pranidhanam for Lokakshemartham. So, this can be done even at home. It's not that only a sannyasi should do like that. Even at home, but you must have that understanding. That is why Jayasya Nitya Sannyasa. That's why that should be at all moments, at all time in your life. If your understanding is clear, whatever you do will be in that Araga Dvesha Kritam. So that is called Sattvika karma based on Sattvika Buddhi and understanding. So everything is, first he has described Sattvika Buddhi, Rajasika Buddhi, Tamasika Buddhi. Now karma is as per Sattvika Buddhi, as per Rajasika Buddhi. Like that is linking now. So that you are very clear. Once everything is in Sattvika, whether it is Shraddha, whether it is Bhakti, whether it is Karma, whether it is attitude, everything if it is Shraddha, then your jnanam is complete. Nyayasya nitya sannyasi. So whether you are at home or everywhere, anywhere, so your understanding should be clear. There can be no compromise. That is how he is getting into this 18th chapter discussion. That's how you have to look at. Yeah.
Next para, then again.
A karma that is done without being impelled by raga dveshas, araga dveshataha kritam, is satvikam karma. Generally, the suffix thus indicates the fifth case, but it can also stand for any case, and here Shankara takes it as the third case. Swamiji, we are concentrating so much on Satvika, right? But we did read some time back that a person cannot be always Satvikam. He is a combination of Sat, Rajas, Tamas, and that. Remember that chapter, right? Remember
It is there. It is there. But see, when you are sleeping, you have to be Tamas only. And you are doing some activity, like you are doing mathematics. You are solving a sum. You have to apply, your mind should be totally active. So those are all still there. But the way in which they are explaining in terms of attitude, in terms of shraddha, in terms of karma, what is your approach towards karma, those things. So it must be very clear as to what is being talked about. Everyone, that is why Sattvika, Rajasika, Tamasika is there in everyone. But you have to grow. Wherever you find that your karma is a bit Tamasika, you have to grow into Rajasika. Where it is Rajasika, purely motivated by results and all that, you have to be very alert. Even though it is motivated, I am doing my office work is motivated by some results, but I know very well my buddhi is, it is my duty, so I do. I am not totally hung on to mother pala. May come out okay, cannot come out okay. If it come out okay, fine. Company also is benefited, I am also benefited. But if it doesn't come also, I will be samatum. I will be able to take it in the right spirit. Because internally my understanding of life is sattvika. So that is how it is. In the sense, every and if it is basically a kamika, that is kamya karma, as far as possible you will avoid. Unless your role like in office, it is basically a kamya karma. Like in the sense, I do this for this profit and all that. It's okay, that is kamya karma. But your attitude is what? It is, I am in this position, what I am doing it is what is appropriate to the given situation to the extent possible. Those clauses and all you have to put. But my internal arrangement in my buddhi is, I am very clear. And whatever it comes, I will be able to, it doesn't disturb me. The job, the role is mine, but I am not the role. That distinction will be very clear. I am not the role is me. Like Amitabh Bachchan, same thing. Amitabh Bachchan playing the role of a beggar very nicely. So that must be alertness we have to have. Once we have come into this level of understanding, once your understanding of reality, that's why the talk also is important, whatever I sent to you. That once you own up that understanding, you must be able to live up to that understanding. So everything else, Rajasika, Tamasika, Satvika will be there in the roles. Will be there in the roles. Like when you are sleeping, you will be Tamasika. But when you get up, you will be in the way in which you went to sleep with all the understanding. The same understanding you will get up. If your understanding is faulty, next day morning also you will same and with faulty understanding you will get up. But as long as your understanding is thorough, going to sleep doesn't affect. You will come back with the same understanding. So all those things, the clarity should be there. Everything has its place. Tamasika, Rajasika and Sattvika has got its place. But primarily your understanding is Sattva. At all times your understanding is Sattva. Understanding alone can be Sattva. Okay? And your karma and your attitude, your taking up things, all will be dictated by the Sattvika Buddhi. That is why he has talked about Sattvika Buddhi first, and then now talks about Sattvika Karma, and then he will talk about Sattvika Shraddha and all that. Everything will come now also. Yeah.
Actually, in Sattvika Jnanam, he says we should not feel shy of that seeing non-duality in duality.
Yes.
Because just now Swami said in Pradhan,
reality,
alertness should be there.
We will not have all these questions. We will not have all these questions at all. We will just live.
That is Sattvika Jnanam.
Yeah. No problem arise. Listen, that is what people generally ask. The will be better off. And you will be less trouble to others.
No,
Swamiji, in the verse Padikar every line is creating some question in the mind. Actually, to tell you the truth, I'm not asking Swamiji because for every line that you are telling,
that is why I'm telling. We have to digest all that has gone previously. Then only this will make sense. That's why I told you, I cautioned you also. Assume that you know all that, what has gone in the 17 chapters. It's only reinforcing the whole thing. Clinching, which is clinching the whole argument. Bhagavan is clinching the whole argument for Arjuna. So we have to put ourselves in that situation and read it. And then wherever you have doubts, you have to go back and make it clear for yourself. That is important. We have to do it. That is why you have to, maybe wherever we have not spent sufficient time, wherever we have not been able to own up that part of that understanding in our life, the doubts will still be there. We will have to come back to it, no doubt. Yeah.
Generally, the suffix thus indicates the fifth case, but it can also stand for any case. And here Shankara takes it as the third case.
Yeah, the but is, it can be fifth case or third case. But means here with, not like. Here it is with. So you have to, it should not be atar tattvavit. You must be tattvavit. That's what he says. Yeah.
A karma that is done purely out of raga or dvesha, not taking into account dharma and adharma, is called raga dveshataha kritam karma. Any karma will have an element of raga and dvesha because nobody can perform an action without the expectation of a result. But at the same time, karma can be prompted by a raga or dvesha without conforming to dharma and not eschewing adharma. So when we say raga dveshataha kritam karma, we mean only that karma which does not take cognizance of dharma and adharma, what is right or wrong. But the satvikam karma is the opposite of that. Araga dveshataha kritam, not done impelled by raga dveshas alone. This last sentence, what is it, Swamiji? Araga dveshataha.
See, in the sense, like as I was telling, in an office kind of situation, when you do a karma, there will be an outcome which is favorable, an outcome which is not favorable. We are very clear. The outcome which is favorable is raga, and outcome which is not favorable is dvesha. That will be there, that you cannot avoid. But you
do the karma.
See, but don't get impelled by only that raga and dvesha. Even though you know that can be a desirable result and undesirable result, you don't react to when a desirable result comes, you don't hit the ceiling. When an undesirable result comes, you don't get depressed. You be very sattvic about it. In the sense, be samatvam. At the same time, go ahead and do it. So that is what he means. But the sattvikam karma is opposite. Araga dveshataha kritam. So what he has said is, any karma will have an element of raga and dvesha, meaning desirable and undesirable will be there with reference to the result. But the karma can be prompted by raga and dvesha without conforming to dharma and not eschewing adharma. In the sense, when you do that, if you are equanimous about it, you will do what is appropriate. You will, in order to achieve a certain raga or to avoid a certain dvesha, what undesirable, you will not compromise dharma. You will go ahead and do what is appropriate to that extent you understand. You will not compromise any of those things, but still be able to accept a desirable or undesirable result. So, desirable and undesirable result is inevitable for any karma, because we don't call all the shots. But your attitude towards that karma is, because I want a desirable end, I will follow dharma. Because I want to avoid the undesirable end, I will do some shortcut. That I won't do. I will do what is appropriate to the extent I understand. And accept whatever that comes as. That is what karma pala, ma karma pala hetu bhuhu, that which I told before also. This is possible. This is possible if your internal understanding is sattvic and you have grown into it sufficiently, you are alert to that all the time. Every time you will be acting like that only. Totally karma neva adhikarahate. Whatever is best possible, I will do. Whatever karma pala comes, I will I will not arrogate on myself because of me only it has happened, or because of somebody else only it has happened. You will curse somebody or curse yourself. All those things will not be there because you will be equanimous. When it is coming back as a desirable or undesirable end, it will be equanimous. And also you will not be driven because of the desirable end. I won't take shortcuts in terms of dharma. So both are there. While doing also, you will do what is appropriate. While receiving also, you will be equanimous in your attitude. So that equanimity in terms of attitude is called sattva suddhi, sattva buddhi. And while executing the karma also, you will be the sattvika. That's what it means. Totally in charge of yourself. And that way, your freedom is 100%. Your freedom of being is 100% because you are owning up your reality. In Vivahara, all these things can happen. But in terms of reality, nothing changes. I am the being always, Purnam. So this is your height of your understanding. Sattvika Suddha, Sattvika Buddhi as well as Sattvika Karma. Later you will talk about Sattvika Shraddha also. Again, at all times you will have that Sattva Shuddhi in terms of Shraddha also. Because something happens, you will not start cursing the God. No, it's all Bhakam and all that. You will not do that. Because your understanding is very clear.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Namaha Hari Om.